Все, нет, все в порядке. Все, появился.
Закрой тогда.
А мы можем понять, сколько нас смотрит? Nice. So I don't really know how many people are there watching, but in case, guys, you are there, I promise you this is not going to be really boring. So it's not, I mean, it is a lot about investments. It is a lot about understanding where the whole world is moving to, what is really interesting. I don't know, the sound is coming up late. I just heard. I don't really know how many people are there watching, but in case, guys, you are. Oh, okay, so I just heard myself laughing again, what I was doing at the beginning. So let me introduce myself quickly, and a friend of mine, Dmitry, who is on the other side of the world, and we'll move along about the current subject, the pre-IPO. We heard a lot about it. I heard about it because I'm currently really interested about investments, but it's always good to hear this from the professional. So my name is Timur. To those who doesn't know me, Timur Kudratov. I live here in Dubai since 2004, and we are currently into different projects, into different investment opportunities. So we help our clients, ourselves, our investors to invest in majority of our investment goes to blockchain and crypto projects. But as I always say, whoever I meet, the 80% of our current investors are still coming from traditional business. And for them, this is something that they don't really understand. That's why it's always good to have partners and friends like Dmitry and his fund, who can always offer an opportunity to people who comes from traditional background to have an opportunity to invest. And it doesn't cost a lot. Today, we're going to hear a lot about pre-IPO. But as we agreed before with Dmitry, we really want to make it simple, so everyone understands. Really want to make it fun. I mean, investment, it is a serious business. You don't want to really miss an opportunity, lose money, lose your investors' money. But I mean, life is so short, and you should still take it everything with a smile. So let me pass on to Dmitry Kartvelishvili, as we agreed. I promise I'm going to pronounce it right. So Dmitry Kartvelishvili, I mean, the person who has the Georgian roots.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So Dmitry, pass on to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Timur, for introduction. So we will do our best to make it not so boring, and to make it as simple as possible. So let's go.
All right, let's go. So first of all, we are live. So the link goes through a technology support from Dimitri's side, so people can actually see us on YouTube. Some people can watch me on Instagram, and obviously, I wish everyone a pleasant evening. We'll try to make it short. We'll explain everything within an hour. So, Dimitri, what is pre-IPO? We already, I mean, a lot of people heard about IPO. Yes, when it takes a lot of money, time to go into public, sell your shares. What is pre-IPO?
Actually, Pre-IPO is a market for shares of private high-tech companies. And we can say that it formed about 3 years ago, and it's a secondary market. Secondary means that the shares that we can buy on this market, we are buying from early investors or from employees of these high-tech companies. That's Pre-IPO market.
So you mean to say that before company goes public, everyone gets an opportunity, not everyone, so people can get an opportunity to buy shares of those companies before it goes public. Is that, I mean, to make it
right? Absolutely right. And one more thing that I want to highlight is that a period of time before going public, because if you are investing, for example, in an early stage company, you can wait for years. Sometimes it might be 10 years, 7 years before going public. And if we are talking about pre-IPO deals, investment period should be about from 1 year to not more than 2 years.
Wow.
That's pre-IPO market.
So this what basically, I mean, when we were searching, us as an investment and asset management company, when we were searching and opportunities for our investors on the market, and luckily to our common friend Alexander, who have made an introduction to you and to your joint venture, which is, if I'm saying it right again, it's Veligera Capital. Is that right? Veligera. Okay. So Veligera Capital, that's what you represent. That's your fund. So this is what you do for your investors. And can you tell me more a bit about the Veligera itself, the services you offer, and then we'll move along about the IPO, pre-IPO market.
Veligera Capital is a US-based fund. It's comparatively young entity, and we set up this fund this year. But for example, my portfolio and my experience as pre-IPO investor is started in 2019. So it's about 3 years that I'm investing in this strategy. And our team is also experienced. We have analysts, lawyers, and they also have deep experience in venture capital deals. Before investing in pre-IPO, I invested in early stage startups for several years. And talking about Veligera Capital, I want to mention that we have in this fund, in this new fund, we have upstanding entity that is controlling and managing business. It's a licensed fund, which is called Untitled Capital. And this entity is one of the largest investment funds on Cyprus. It has 4 years history. It has 4 years successful track record and audit made by PricewaterhouseCoopers. So it's
so if I understand it right, so basically that the holding company So Veligera Capital was formed under the umbrella of a holding company, which allows you basically to onboard clients, do KYC, and have them as the entity who does all the due diligence, which is very important for every investment fund.
Sure, yeah, and we have done it especially to have possibility to invest in our strategy professionals and in other entities, and now we have 3 funds as our investors within our fund.
That's actually, I mean, it is actually based on structure here and structuring basically companies worldwide. It is a very smart way to do it, because you can spend millions and millions of your money and your investors' money into setting up a proper structure rather than using an umbrella which already exists there, has a track record, has an ability to onboard and do the KYC and spend the investment into building the team and hiring professionals. That's my personal opinion as the early stage investor, because when you said you had experience investing in startups, this is what we currently do, tech companies. So why pre-IPO market is basically based on tech companies? I mean, maybe not why, but what's so excited about pre-IPO market, a part of getting into tech companies at the early stage?
Actually, then we are buying shares on OTC market. We take to ourselves more risks than, for example, buying shares on exchange, because we are acting in conditions of low liquidity, and there is no aim for us to buy, for example, shares of traditional companies, because they do not have such growth potential, and but they have the same risks, and that's why high-tech companies.
Risks. So being an individual investor or trying play on the market, investing into IPO, buying shares, people say, oh, I just bought shares of this company or that company. I mean, trading and buying shares, the market is always risk. It is a big risk. So, but there is a difference, I guess, being part of a fund with professionals and doing it yourself. So what are your comments on that? Why are you different as a fund?
I want to say that everybody might be an investor, but if you are going to be a successful investor, you should have specific skills. So if you are, for example, going to be a pre-IPO investor, you should have very good experienced analysts. You need to have experienced lawyers, not simply lawyers, but lawyers who have experience in venture capital deals. And besides, you need to have very good networking, because on this market you can get a good deal only by your networking.
Yeah, true. I agree 100%. I truly believe in. I mean, this is a great example that I truly believe in partnerships. I understand that collaborations and joining forces is very important in every market, in every country. Sometimes, unfortunately, people do not get it. They reach a certain level and they say, well, now we don't need anyone. But as we all know, COVID and the whole pandemic have proven that even big companies has an ability to fall because there is no support from partners. So for pre-IPO market, it is quite new. However, it is very potentially growing and growing towards a skyrocket. We all heard about opportunities, missed opportunities within big and famous companies, some SpaceX, Netflix. What do you think, or at least you as professional with the background of investing, where you see market is moving towards? So maybe which niche, or in 2022, like we've almost done with 2021, we all made money, lost money, We have pains and gains, but where do you think market is moving in 2022, or what companies to look at?
Actually, I would highlight the most interesting, in my opinion, industries for investors, in which we can find late-stage companies with growth potential, because we can name different fields which can grow. But if we are talking about pre-IPO, I think that we should highlight only that industries where we can get these shares and get profit. So, first of all, I want to mention space technologies. We all know company SpaceX, and we know how it's developing and how its valuation is growing. And I can say that there is a market with one company if we are talking about pre-IPO, but I think that it still has significant growth potential. We have invested in this company in 2020, and we are in profit now, and we think that it will increase its valuation. Then I want to mention fintech companies. We can see how neobanks and next generation brokerage companies, we can say they are revolutionizing the financial market. And, so we believe that this type of companies will be growing next 2 years at least. Gaming industry, and saying about gaming industry, I want to mention especially mobile gaming publishing companies. This year we have invested in one of such companies, and
is it a secret name? What is it called? Is it still an opportunity? Or
yes, it's still an opportunity, but not in past deal.
Yeah, but
it
more
might be one more deal for this company. Its name is Skupli. Very promising company, and and besides, they I think that next year this company will be public.
So basically, it took like almost just a year to go public.
Even
so once it hits public, so what are your expectations? Let's say, how many X's?
It's bad to make such predictions. I really don't like it, but I can say that we assume that it will be that the estimation on the exchange will be at least twice more than now.
So
maybe even more.
Okay, but it's good. I mean, you see what's good about the traditional investment, about the traditional business. So you don't promise, or you don't expect making 1,000 X's in one day, but then you lose everything, or you even go bankrupt in another day. So here is more like, you understand you made 2 X's, which is great. I mean, within a year, you just doubled what you invested. This is good. So we said space, fintech, gaming. Anything else particular to look at?
Yeah, sure. It's not all. Cybersecurity, of course.
Okay.
Food tech industry, and in food tech industry, especially companies that produce protein products by artificially multiplying cells.
Okay.
Electric vehicle industry, but our main focus is not on producing cars, but on companies producing fast charging batteries for EVs. On this field, it's much more opportunities to get shares, and we have already invested in one of such companies, which has technology for charging EVs for 5 minutes, and they have even demonstrated this possibility to the audience.
I wouldn't know. Honestly, I wouldn't know that even to look at the companies who produce batteries. Yes, I would only know like, yes, Tesla is a good company. You need to invest. But there are niches which like the batteries, who does batteries for electrical cars, and you can make actually a lot of money there, right?
Actually, Tesla shares are very expensive, and the company is too expensive. It's like Bitcoin, you see.
Yeah, punch. Yeah. Okay. So,
and besides, I want to mention one more industry.
okay.
RPA, robotic process automation. It's very promising and it's very fast growing. And that's all, I think. Talking
But
about
let's not open all the secrets. Let's keep it the way that people don't run now into those companies and start buying shares, because this is not. So as we always say, there's no financial advices. So we can take the risk, as you can take the risk as a fund, because you understand that you have professional analytics, lawyers. You can somehow make the deal more transparent, rather than me sitting behind laptop and trying to do it by myself. So, but you know what I think what scares people away usually when we talk about a fund. Let's say as promised at the beginning, I promised everyone that I want to do it as simple as possible. So I don't want to talk about billions and trillions when people out there is thinking like, fund, to be an investor in the fund, most probably I need to have millions and millions in my pocket before I become an investor. So how much is the ticket entry within your fund? How much it costs for me to buy shares or become an investor within your fund? How much is it? 10 million, 20 million? How much?
Entry ticket in our fund is $10,000 US. I want to mention that we recommend to all our investors, to all members of our fund, to make an investment portfolio, not to invest in one opportunity, one company, but to collect at least 10 and better 15 different companies to spread risks. It's very important.
Yeah, it is true, because then you, I believe, see that you are making money, because when one deal doesn't go the way it was planned, but I understand that the whole market, as we spoke before, whether it's blockchain, crypto trading, it is a lot of speculations. In your personal experience, maybe recent investments, is there any particular deal where it was overpromised or overpriced based on, people invest in marketing, they do a lot of boom. In the crypto world, we call it pump and dump. What's your personal experience as the fund on with any last deals?
Of course, we see many overpriced company on the market, especially this year, because now we see a hype around this type of investment, and that's why are some speculations that which we see now at the moment. As example, I want to mention only one company. It's called Udemy. It's a good company. We have invested in this company, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020, and the valuation was about $2 billion then we bought the shares. And this year the company became public at
Okay.
the valuation a bit more than $4 billion. So
Double.
the price of shares, the valuation rise twice. But the investment period was more than 1 year, about a year and a half for us in this company. But several months ago, another fund offered these shares at valuation of $5 and $6 billion. So
yeah, imagine. And some people invest for sure. I mean, based on the evaluation, so they bought, and then it became 4 when it became public. So you doubled the investment, which is great, I think, for the market and the opportunity. But as I said, there are always risks, and well, there were more about risks, but as I believe personally, when you decide to have your personal investment portfolio, right? I mean, you have to do it smart way. And as you said at the beginning, you currently have analytics, lawyers, you have experience because this is your day-to-day job. Some of us, and most of us, and now when you said that I can enter with $10,000, I won't have an opportunity to have the team to follow the market, to see the trends. And obviously, most of the time, you lose money because you base your decisions on your own experience. Imagine when it's a collectively thinking decision, and that's what makes it different when you become part of the fund. So you minimize your risks. So talking about pre-IPO market, and let's say, have an interesting question which just came to my WhatsApp. It's one of the friend who is currently watching. So what he's asking, by investing in your fund, what guarantees of involving in certain transactions or real ownership of shares does the investor have when I become an investor of your?
Very good question.
Yeah.
So we have a set procedure for all investments in our fund, and after each transaction, after each completed transaction, we must send to our all investors who participated in this deal, first signed by our fund share purchase agreement, then wire transfer, that we transferred money according to the agreement, and share certificates for our fund. So everybody can see that deal was really completed and that the fund really has these shares. And these documents, this procedure is absolutely simple and absolutely clear.
Okay.
And one more thing I want to add, that our fund operates more like a brokerage company. So each investor can choose a particular deal. And our management offers different investment opportunities, different deals, and each investor can decide whether to participate or not to participate in the particular deal, and how much money to put in the particular deals.
You know, it makes it really interesting because, you know, depending, because everyone, all of us, we consider ourselves not a really stupid person. I mean, we always say I'm smart and this and that. And then when I am offered an opportunity to become an investor, and then I just say, okay, my money is just managed by some people, by some professionals. This is one thing. But when you participate in decision making, saying, listen, we just got an opportunity. There is a company which is promised to launch in a year. There is a pre-IPO stage. Now there is an opportunity to buy shares. And then I still make a decision based on your proposal and your evaluation. It makes it different because then I imagine when it hits, when it doesn't just double, it triples, then you say, actually, I made a decision. I told everyone to invest. So It's pretty smart way to have people get involved in their own. That's their money. So, okay. So within your fund, I can enter within 10,000. I can be part of every deal you offer or propose. And then it's transparent, backed up by lawyers, have a lot of experienced people on board. But are there still risks being?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, of course. There are market risks, and we cannot avoid market risks.
Yeah.
It's a venture capital market. Of course, it contains a lot of risks. So each company shares after after public offering might be might have a lower price than it was on a public stage. There are no guarantees that it will be rising, and the only treatment is to make deep and professional analytics. There is only one way to manage these risks.
Okay, so if there is an analytics which goes deep and deep and deep in every deal in every company, understanding that okay, the recent CEO or CTO of the company left the company for certain reason and can drop the shares by going public, or maybe can increase the shares. So the pre-IPO market, to make it in a simple word, because I just got a couple of messages from people who recently joined. So I'll just repeat not everything we said, you know, guys, I'm sorry, fuck you. So I'll make it simple. So what we have today, we have Dmitry from Veligera Capital LLC, is a good friend of mine who have offered an opportunity to us, to my network, to our investors, to have an understanding if this newly booming, not blockchain and crypto market as you used to hear from me, but newly booming market pre-IPO, where you have an opportunity, as Dmitry said, to buy shares of the company before it goes public, but not like they decided and then in 10 years they go public. So it might take from a year to 2 years before they go public, and you can buy those shares from, I mean, I heard it at the beginning. So you can buy those shares from who? From staff of the company? Or how does it work?
And besides, you can buy it from early stage investors who entered in the very beginning.
So they have shares of the company. They know that the company goes public within a year and two, and they want to sell over the shares. So how do you, I mean, how does it happen within, I mean, within your team? Let's say, to make it simple, there is a company, whatever, XYZ company. You understand that now there's a lot of boom around the company. The company is planning to go public. So what happens next? How do you approach them, or what is the process of you buying shares from them?
Actually, we have very good networking. It was years and years to make all these connections, and we are starting to look for such opportunity of buying shares. So we have special employees. We call them scouters, who are searching such deals, and we have different brokers in US, in Europe, depending where we are searching the deal. So it's
it's even more complicated
to find a good deal.
Shit. No, honestly, for me, I mean, now it was my question. It's not even from WhatsApp. It was my question to understand. Let's say, okay, yes, there is IPO. It's online. You can buy public shares when it's live, it's already public. But when it's not public, so it's like you will never get that deal if you don't have network. Who are you gonna search? You're gonna search CTO on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, are you selling shares of the company?" So it is basically. So this is where you make it different. Of course, I would rather be a part of a team who would do that on my behalf and then offer me an opportunity, and I still make my decision, but at least the deal is there. Well, maybe I heard the no news are there, media is there. Okay, So in simple words, you need to have a strong network. You need to build your relationship with different brokers and scouts in order to have an opportunity. So whenever your analytics gives you a signal saying that there is an interesting company which soon should go public from gaming or tech, then you start searching and developing your network, most probably scrolling on WhatsApp saying, hey, yes, I know the guy, so I can ask. And then the deal can happen. And then it's offered to investors of the fund who can make decision, invest or not invest. But basically, the fund does invest. You personally, because I know when you enter into that world of investing, making money, taking risks, do you personally invest in the deals you get as an opportunity on the table? You as individual investor?
Sure. And I invest almost in all our funds deals because
Okay.
I consider them to be very prospective. That's why I invest.
Okay. Great. Well, I mean, I think that was really clear. Now I understand that pre-IPO is completely different from what we do here. And I can say that when we initially spoke with Alexander and he offered, and I said, yes, look, we also have fund and we do have an investment opportunities which comes to us from tech companies. We recently invested in prop tech company, and I can see that this market is also promising. But I can say that the pre-IPO is completely different world. I mean, it is still a tech, but when you get opportunity to be in pre-sale, what we call in blockchain world, where there is a pre-sale opportunity, which we can say pre-IPO, it makes sense to have professionals behind. Anything else you wanted to add from your side to make it a complete understanding that you guys follow Timur on LinkedIn and Instagram and let me get more followers? No, I'm joking. Okay. Your last recommendations or maybe advice to everyone out there, like potentially new investors, what would you recommend?
I would recommend to be very careful and to make decision by yourself. It's very important. As for our fund, we for each deal, our analysts prepare materials, prepare presentations, and try in simple words to describe the opportunity. But each investor should make decision by himself and take risks to himself. That's why we should be careful, but in the same time, enough brave to make a decision.
Exactly. No, 100%. I mean, you cannot start making investments if you don't have enough balls to risk the opportunity. It happens, and better than don't start at all. There are plenty of ways to, save the money, but as we already understand, keeping money in the bank account doesn't really make you money. You can lose approximately 6 to 7% a year actually by devaluation. Well, guys, I mean, for me it was really exciting. I hope to those who were listening or watching, because I know that somebody just told me, listen, is the guy on the other side speaks Russian as well? I mean, there was a message in Russian saying, is the other guy speaks Russian as well? Because I understand English, but not that well. So will there be anything in Russian? Well, we'll do another one most probably for our Russian community who even though lives here, but I know that they're really excited about becoming or being an investor. So that's it from my side. Dmitry, it was a great honor to meet you, and thank you very much for your advices. Guys, if you have any questions, you can text me or text Dmitry directly. I'll connect you all. So that's it from my side.
It was a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.
Спасибо большое, Дмитрий. Желаю удачи. До свидания.